I do not want to see Dune Part 2. Dune 1 sucks. And I bet Dune 2 is gonna suck too. Whatever, Dune sucks. Dune 1 sucks. Stupid. Stupid. Stupid movie. Dune 2 is going to suck. Dune 1 sucks. Not excited to see Dune 2. Dune will suck.
Hey, Ethan, I saw Dune last night.
Yeah?
Ethan, Dune 2 is fucking incredible. I have a issue with film criticism in general, which is you can go see a movie that is good or bad, and outside circumstances can change how you like that movie or don't like that movie. If you're having a bad day and you go see a movie, you might write a bad review. If you're eating Sour Patch Kids and one of them's a little too stale, you might write a bad review. There are so many reviews by Roger Ebert that I read where I'm like, did you even watch the movie or were you just pissed off that day? It happens. It's a legit thing that happens in all forms of criticism. The second Dune 2 started, the first thing you see is, I'm going to paraphrase, it says, if you control the spice, you have the power, or whatever it says.
Mm-hmm.
The second that flashed on the screen, I had to pee so badly. And the movie started, I'm like, fuck, I have to pee, but I don't want to miss anything. So I'm like, I'm just going to wait for like a dull part, because, I mean, it's a Dune movie. The first Dune had a lot of boring parts. I'll wait for a dull part, then I'll run to go to the bathroom. And then the movie ended. And I was like, oh shit, I never peed because I was fucking
There were no dull parts.
So into this movie. I was in there. I was riding a fucking worm. I know. Cheering for psychopath Austin Butler. I was queening everything Rebecca Ferguson was doing. This movie is unreal, and I'm saying it right now. Dune 2 is going to win the Oscar in 2025.
Yeah. So as someone who, I don't like Star Wars. I'm not a Lord of the Rings person. I like very much not that. I saw both Dunes in IMAX for the first time within the last month. And so for me to say this as Dune 2, that it's like, I understand what the level of like Return of the King and Empire Strikes Back are. I think it's better than both of those. And it's like, I was so engaged start to finish. And I was worried about my movie going experience because I was sitting next to someone who kept shouting Reverend Mother at Nicole Kidman during the trailer. And then she obviously so excited for Dune because I saw it Sunday night, was just like sobbing. And like, I was like kind of worried. We kept leaving, kept exiting our row in the IMAX and then was like falling up and down the stairs, but was thrilled like start to finish. It was incredible. Zendaya will be nominated for Best Actress.
Every performance is incredible, and we're not going to get into spoilers, but Zendaya, Austin Butler, Timothée Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, who I want to circle back on, even Christopher Walken, what he's doing, I really like.
My guy, Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård as like my inner being, a melted blob of oil man. I loved that movie. I really did. Ethan. Yeah. As of this recording, Ethan is seeing it tomorrow. We will edit in his thoughts on the movie right now.
Okay, I'm walking out of the theater from Dune 2, and while I maintain that Dune 1 sucks, Dune 2 is a really good movie. That was a really good movie. Wow. I'm pretty blown away by it. It looked great. The sound was amazing. The score was amazing. And I think that they did the thing that I was so annoyed by the first time, which is in the first movie, I did not care about anybody, even the slightest. And they finally gave me characters to care about. I cared about Paul by the end of this, and a quarter of the way through this movie, I finally started to care about Paul and Paul's decisions he had to make, and way more importantly, Zendaya really kind of stole the movie for me. That Johnny is a character worth rooting for, and is so much more than just like the badass love interest. She's really interesting, and I cared about those characters. And if someone had just told me we'd have to suffer through Dune 1 in order to get Dune 2, I would have shut up a little bit. So I blame all of you for not telling me that. This is not my fault, it's yours. But yeah, wow, that was a really good movie. And Eli, you can use this at the end of the episode. As good as Dune 2 was, it wasn't as fun as Madam Web in theaters.
Anyway, this is I Need to See That. It's another movie podcast. I'm Eli.
I'm Caroline.
I'm Ethan.
Today we are talking and finalizing our Oscar predictions for 2024. And clearly we're also talking about Dune, so let's really get into it. Ready, Caroline? Ready, Ethan? We are getting into it right now. Rebecca Ferguson this week said in an interview, "I did a film with an absolute idiot of a co-star, and this human being was being so insecure and angry because this person couldn't get the scenes out. And I think I was vulnerable and uncomfortable that I got screamed at, and I would cry walking off set. This person would literally look at me in front of the whole crew and say, 'You call yourself an actor? This is what I have to work with?' I stood there just breaking. Because this person was number one on the call sheet, there was no safety net for me. No one had my back." Caroline, Ethan, who the fuck made Rebecca Ferguson cry?
Okay, scrolling through. Well, okay, we eliminated. She said it wasn't Tom Cruise, right? And she said it wasn't Hugh Jackman.
It's not Tom Cruise. It's not Hugh Jackman.
Okay.
The internet has two suspects in mind. The internet thinks it's either Emily Blunt, who she co-starred with in Girl on a Train, or Hugh Grant from Florence Foster Jenkins.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, is it Hugh Grant of Florence Foster Jenkins? Which would be hilarious because it was such a bad movie.
And he's notable for his temper.
Yeah.
I have a top 5 that I prepared.
I have another guess because I've heard some interesting stuff recently. What about Michael Fassbender?
Yeah, so Michael Fassbender is on my top 5. It's at my number 2. Let me give you my top 5 quickly. Number 5, Patrick Stewart, who was in The Kid Who Would Be King.
Oh.
I'm thinking of the people who get so into acting that they are trying to do the Kubrick thing of making her so upset that you see it in her performance. That's where I'm going with this, which is problematic in its own right. So I have Patrick Stewart, who she was with in The Kid Who Would Be King. Number 4, I have Ewan McGregor from Dr. Sleep. I know Ethan texted me that he thinks it's Jacob Tremblay, but I'm going with Ewan McGregor. Number 3, I have Justin Theroux from Girl on a Train. Number 2, like I said, I have Michael Fassbender. And before I get to number 1, let me throw out two out in the atmosphere ones. 1, I put The Rock. Okay? Yes, The Rock came out and very publicly said, "Who did this? I love her," which to me screams a little, it's not me. Let's find out who it is. And in today's day and age, oftentimes the person who is speaking loudly against something is actually the one who did it. So I have The Rock as my maybe. And I also have either Meryl Streep or Simon Helberg from Florence Foster Jenkins, just because it'd be very funny if it was one of them, who turns out two people who are famously pretty cool, chill people who were the ones who secretly were. But my number 1 pick, and I'm going with this one, is Jake Gyllenhaal.
I was thinking From Life, for sure. It happened in that movie.
I think Jake Gyllenhaal might be a secret asshole.
Not so secret if you listen to All Too Well 10-minute version.
Yeah, I left his Taylor's scarf is still at Maggie's house.
Tossing me the car keys, fuck the Patriot car key, you know?
Hey, Jake Gyllenhaal, if you do want to come on our podcast, I'll gladly.
We'd love it.
We'd love it so much.
We'd love it. I have a lot of questions to ask you about Red, Taylor's version.
Rebecca Ferguson is one of the greatest actors to ever live, and she is unreal in Dune 2.
I'm okay, but I'm really going for Michael Fassbender, thinking he really hasn't been doing many movies in the last 2 years.
He's racing
Um,
cars.
Yeah, he's racing car, but I had also kind of read some other not great stuff about him recently when I was digging on where he had been the last few years. So I feel like in my if I'm putting on my house MD brain, that aligns for me.
Have you
Right.
seen Shame?
That's the one where he shows his penis, right?
Yeah, speaking of giant sandworms.
I never saw it. I remember that was like there was a lot of controversy about the rating of that movie. I remember when that came out.
Hold it for Sextember. Do all Sextember movies require some actor to hang dong?
Yeah, I am sick of the trend. I guess it's not a trend so much anymore, but for a while it was like boobs, show boobs, and there was no hanging dong. I think Sextember
is dong month, dong-sember.
We fully overcorrected in the last few years. I think, like, especially with Euphoria, because there was like that locker scene where
So
there's
many
like
dongs.
32 penises just walking around.
Now, wasn't that like the thing in Forgetting Sarah Marshall is they wanted to flip the script and that's why they have the Jason Segel scenes? So is Jason Segel the person who started the overcorrection?
No, I think it's the scene in Dewey Cox when he's talking to his wife and the guy is just standing there naked next to him.
You know what? That's a good transition moment for me because Dewey Cox is a perfect parody, and that's a type of movie I miss. I watched Airplane again recently. It's a perfect parody. It is shot for shot. Yeah. And they just announced that they are remaking the Naked Gun movies. And I'm excited about it because I miss this kind of movie. And I think casting Liam Neeson in the role is very smart.
Oh.
What I want to make sure they do is follow because one of the reasons I like The Naked Gun is it's a perfect parody of cop movies, but it is parodying a very specific movie. And what I fear in recent quote-unquote comedies or parody comedies, like I think of the Steve Carell Get Smart, take the jokes out of that and what's the plot of that movie? It makes no sense. I want them to make sure that the thing they are parodying is referential. So what I would do is do it like Chicago PD or Law and Order SVU style. Maybe not SVU, maybe just normal Law and Order because that gets a little sensitive. But do a complete parody. Liam Neeson is the straight man with everything off going on around him, but make it follow a legit plot that we recognize as cliche, and I think it would work really well. And one of the reasons I bring this up is I miss these legit parody movies. And in 1984, the National Lampoon did release a parody Dune called National Lampoon's Dune, spelled Doon. I pitched that we write and sell National Lampoon's Dune right now because I think there's a market for it.
Would the spice now be like microplastics?
Microplastics or
Ozempic.
Let's get into the Oscars, everybody. It's time to talk Oscars. So we are going to go through every category. We're going to say who is going to win and who we want to win. And this is us locking in our ballots. We cannot change it after today.
I'm on our app. I'm locking in.
I'm putting mine in the app later. I typed everything out.
I'm starting with the ones that like I could go anywhere. So Ethan, who wins original screenplay?
Anatomy of Fall is going to win original screenplay. I would like Past Lives to win because I just want everything to happen good to Celine Song in Past Lives, but Anatomy of a Fall is going to win.
Caroline?
I also think Anatomy of Fall is going to win, and I would be thrilled with that. I loved Anatomy of Fall, seen it twice. Again, I echo, I would love Past Lives to win, but also I would love a win for Sammy Birch for May December because I think that was an incredible screenplay.
If Sammy Birch wins for May December, do they finally release the Acme movie that they're refusing to release that she wrote?
Yes.
I think so.
Did you see
Yeah.
Will Forte's Instagram story about it?
Yeah, he said he got
yesterday?
deleted or something, right?
He was just like it. He's like, when they said they were going to delete it, I figured it'd be crap, but I saw it and it's really good. He's like, it was funny, it was sweet, and it was a really nice post.
I want to see it. I think Anatomy of a Fall is going to win, and I want Anatomy of a Fall to win. Adapted screenplay, Ethan.
Adapted screenplay. Oh boy, I think that the winner of this is going to be Oppenheimer. I think it's just gonna. I think it's just gonna
Fascinating.
dominate.
Okay.
I think it's gonna dominate. I think that what should win is American Fiction.
Fair. Caroline.
I think the way things have been shaking out lately, I think it's going to be American Fiction. Because I think it's won a lot of the recent awards. And I think at the BAFTAs it won. And I think my wish, I would love a 3-way tie between Barbie, American Fiction, and Zone of Interest.
Can there be ties again? Because they changed it up now.
No.
There
I think
have
I
been
thought
ties.
you could. Because
It's like kissing your sister. No
Well, I
ties.
think there was a tie in 2017, I thought, for, I can't remember which award. I'll look it up while you're saying yours, Eli.
I want and I think American Fiction will win. That's my lock. This is a hard one. Visual effects. Ethan.
I think that Godzilla -1 is going to win because it feels like it's sort of the moment and it's sort of captured people's attentions and imaginations. I haven't seen it, so I can't speak to that, but I always want the best for my guy Tom. So Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is what I want to win.
Okay. My wish and my winner, my hope are both Godzilla -1. Although I think the creator might have won something in this recently in the last week I was looking at when I was doing this. But Godzilla -1. Again, it's unreal what they did with $15 million. I've only seen the black and white version, and I loved it, and I'll scream about it from the rooftops. It's one of my favorite movie-going experiences this year.
Do you think people listening are like, say who's nominated? You can just Google it. Visual effects, the nominees are The Creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, too long of a title, and Napoleon. Yeah, Caroline, to your point, I think it's down to The Creator or Godzilla -1. I'm going to say, because both of you said Godzilla -1, I'm going to say Godzilla -1 is going to win, and that's also what I want to win. And I think, yes, the Creator won. I think it's Guild Award, but that video of the 20 people watching as they announced Godzilla -1 just melted my heart, and I really want them
That's
to
what
win.
I think. This is a campaign. Like, people
It's a
are
campaign.
vying to win. Bradley Cooper is talking about showering in front of his kid or something in order to win an Oscar. Videos like that make people vote for it. Like, this is a political campaign that requires press, and that video is why I think it is going to win.
Everything Oscars is so friggin' political. I've been thinking about it. I looked at the 2022 Oscars because I was like, what did beat Dune? And it was Coda. Remember that movie Coda that was against Power of the Dog, two movies that I think about but don't know if they actually exist. Like, it's so political. It's so political.
Well, and it's also very of the moment. I feel like this year is weird because Oppenheimer is sort of, from the moment it came out, was like the anointed movie. But if you took Oppenheimer away from this year, there is a moment where it feels like Zone of Interest might be winning it now. Or like there was a moment where Anatomy of a Fall might have won it.
Yeah.
Or like The Holdovers back in December. So it's a very movable of the moment thing. And Coda just surged at the right moment.
Yeah, it won over hearts.
Yeah, and it was also what we needed during that time, during the height of the pandemic. It was the movie that we needed. Also, I just looked up, the last tie was 2013. It was for sound editing for Zero Dark 30 and Skyfall.
Oh.
Skyfall.
Oh, I saw her sing that live in Vegas, and it was honestly
That's
incredible.
cool.
Yeah.
That movie
Skyfall is
rocks.
just Home Alone, and I love that movie.
Yes.
Sound, the creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, too long of a title, Oppenheimer, and Zone of Interest. Speaking of Oppenheimer versus Zone of Interest, Ethan, what do you think is going to win Best Sound?
Oppenheimer and Oppenheimer.
My prediction, I think based off the guild stuff, I weirdly am going creator, but my wish is Zone of Interest.
You know what? I think this might be the category that separates us. I'm going for, I think and I wish, Zone of Interest. The sound makes that movie.
If Zone of Interest I will be so happy because it's like it sets the tone of that movie from the second it starts. Like the sound is its own character.
And now some categories we all care about. Live action short film. The After, Invincible, Night of Fortune, Red, White, and Blue, or The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, Ethan?
The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar is going to win because of the name recognition. I didn't really like it, but I want Red, White, and Blue to win because it is closest in title to a favorite of this podcast, Red, White, and Royal Blue. And for that reason, I hope it wins.
Ethan is voting for Red, White, and Blue on title alone because he is so patriotic. All right, Caroline, what's yours?
Well, which is funny, but when you hear the plot of Red, White, and Blue, which I'll read out in a second, which I said for, I think, will win and should win. The plot is Rachel's a single mother living paycheck to paycheck when an unexpected pregnancy threatens to crumble her already precarious situation. She's forced to cross state lines in search of an abortion. Movie for the moment for...
So American.
A lot of current prescient themes that we should be talking about. So I think it should win.
There are a lot of themes throughout this Oscars that we should be talking about.
Correct. Yeah.
I think Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar should win, and will win. I think it should because Wes Anderson should get his Oscar so he can, shut up already. I want and think it's gonna win.
Remember when Uma Thurman was the president of America from Texas?
I think about it every day.
So funny. Oh, so funny.
Animated short film, Letter to Pig, 95 Senses, Our Uniform, Pachydermy, and War is Over, inspired by the music of John and Yoko, and Year of Dicks from last year. I just threw that in there because it's the best title from last year. Remember that? Year of Dicks.
Remember that.
All right.
I think that Letter to a Pig is going to win based on name alone. And I think I want Our Uniform to win.
Based on name alone?
No, based on the themes of the moment, obviously.
Great. Caroline?
I think that War is Over is going to win because, baby, those old people in the Oscar Academy, they love the Beatles. And I think that Letter to a Pig should win.
I think and believe War is Over, inspired by the music of John and Yoko, will win based on title alone and because it's based on the music of John and Yoko. But I always get those wrong, so don't listen to me.
And who are John and Yoko?
Who are they to me? It's like a desert flower. Production design. The nominees are Barbie, Killers of a Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Ethan, what do you think?
This one is hard for me as I just pull up my app. I think that I want... What I think is going to win is Poor Things. And what I want to win is Barbie.
Caroline.
Same. I think it's going to be Poor Things. And as I've said a million times, I think the production design in Barbie is phenomenal in the way that they thought about how the world works and that Barbie doesn't walk on stairs. And that's why she has a slide. I think it should be Barbie.
Right there with you. I think Poor Things is going to win. I'd like Barbie to win, although Poor Things you can't argue with the production design there. Music original song. The Fire Inside, I'm Just Ken, I Never Went Away, which is the American Symphony song. A movie that was not nominated, by the way. Killers of the Flower Moon and the William Eyelash song from Barbie. What Was I Made For? Ethan.
Yeah, the William Eyelash song, What Was I Made For, is going to win, unfortunately. And the Dua Lipa song should have won. And if I have to pick one on this list, it's I'm Just Ken. Cannot wait for that performance.
Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing.
Wait.
Didn't you pitch that it's Morgan Freeman singing and not Ryan Gosling? Was that you who pitched that? Because I love that.
I'm down. Get all the celebrity men up on that stage.
Get Jack
and just
Nicholson.
let them sing.
Get Jack. Yeah, bring Jack back.
Yeah, get Jack.
Yeah.
Get Mel Brooks. Like, get Warren Beatty. I want Warren Beatty to say the words "I'm Just Ken."
I used to float. It's definitely Billy. And my wish is a tie between this and I'm Just Ken. But also
What Was I
maybe
Made
Diane
For?
Warren for the drama.
What Was I Made For is gonna win. Although if Diane Warren wins, I actually I've never heard the song. I did not see the movie Flaming Hot, but I think I'll be most excited if she wins because she just give it to her already. Good Lord.
If Diane Warren won, I would run out into the streets. Like when Obama won, I would run out in the streets if Diane Warren won the Best Original Song.
You heard it here first. Diane Warren winning an Oscar is just as important as when Barack Obama was elected president. Said by Caroline Nash on the day you're listening to this.
I had a friend who one time texted me on the day of the Oscars. He said, if Whiplash wins, should we just get blackout drunk to celebrate? Which I think is a really funny thing to say.
I would have, for the record. That was my favorite movie that year. All right, best original score, American Fiction, Indiana Jones and the Dial of who gives a shit? Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, or Poor Things? Ethan.
The winner is going to be Oppenheimer, and I wish that Robbie Robertson would win.
I know. Caroline.
My prediction is Oppenheimer. My wish is American Fiction.
My prediction is Oppenheimer. My wish is Robbie Robertson. Ethan, we're aligned there. Makeup and hairstyling. Golda. I'm offended. Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, or Society of the Snow. What a cool nomination that Society of the Snow was nominated. Ethan, what do you think's going to win?
I think that Poor Things is going to win. And I guess I also pick Poor Things. You know, if Helen Mirren or Bradley Cooper were Jewish, I would have considered it. But no wishes for the Jewish noses.
Bradley Cooper did study the Torah for 6 years in order to get into character for Maestro.
Wow, that's one more than I did.
Prediction is Poor Things, and then I don't know. It would be fun if Society of Snow won.
So you both said Poor Things. Do I break our bracket right now by going with Maestro? I think Maestro is going to win. I think it's going to be the one award that they win.
Will Bradley Cooper cry if Maestro wins for best makeup and hairstyle?
Bradley Cooper's going to be crying the whole show. Are you kidding? It's going to be like Anne Hathaway seeing Barbara Streisand.
Incredible.
Just seeing her. All right, Maestro's going to win, and I want... I kind of want Oppenheimer to win because I think the makeup was cool. Actually, no, I didn't like the old people stuff. Poor Things. I want Poor Things to win, but I think Maestro is going to win. International feature film, Io Capitano, Perfect Day, Society of the Snow, The Teacher's Lounge, The Zone of Interest. In the interest of time, we're all saying The Zone of Interest, right?
Yeah.
Seen Zone of Interest, but also my other wish was Teacher's Lounge was incredible.
It was a good movie.
It would be. I would love a little bit of recognition for it.
Best film editing, Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things.
Oppenheimer and Oppenheimer.
Caroline?
Predicting Oppenheimer, Wish, Anatomy of a Fall.
Oppenheimer for me. We're very aligned on this one. It's going to be an interesting, it's going to be a close ballot. Documentary short film, The ABCs of Book Banning, The Barber of Little Rock Island in Between, The Last Repair Shop, and Nai Nai and Waipo. Nai Nai and Waipo. That's supposed to be really good. All right.
Yeah, I think 99 WIPO is going to win, and because I heard it's really good, and then I want the ABCs of book banning to win because book banning is a theme of the moment.
My prediction is Last Repair Shop, which I mean, you see, it's about a music shop in LA. But wish ABC's a book banning. I went to a wild screening for it here that Sasha Colby, one of my favorite drag queens, hosted, and God bless her, was not one of her strongest moments. But they had a lot. Several of the authors mentioned in the documentary, plus one of the activists who's 101 years old, flew all the way from Florida for the screening. Cool. It was very cool.
Yeah. I've only seen one of these. I saw The Last Repair Shop, and I think it will win, and I want it to win. I think it's really good. Documentary feature film, Bobby Wine, the People's President, The Eternal Memory, 4 Daughters, To Kill a Tiger, and 20 Days in Mariupol. Ethan?
I heard 20 Days in Mariupol is great, so I'll go with that as what will win, and I guess I want to know how to kill a tiger in case I ever have to, so that's what I hope wins.
Prediction 20 Days in Mariupol as well, and then wish. I've heard amazing things about 4 Daughters, and it's been on my to-watch list.
Okay, of these, I've seen 4 Daughters, and it's incredible, and I've seen 20 Days in Mariupol, which is streaming on PBS. It is one of the hardest things I've ever watched. And I think it's going to win, and I want it to win, 20 Days in Mariupol. Although, if To Kill a Tiger wins and David Oppenheim wins, does that count for an Oppenheimer win?
Yes. Like 60% of a win. So it'll have like 12.6 wins for the night.
Costume design. Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. This is another really hard one for me.
Yeah, I think that Poor Things is going to win, and I sort of the same as production design. I want Barbie to win. It's just such a fully realized vision, and the clothes were so important. But I think Poor Things is going to win.
I know, especially like what Ethan was saying. Like, there's so many different specific Barbies, and thinking about how they had to be costumed. But I think it's going to be Poor Things, and I wish it was Barbie.
I'm going to go weird. I'm going Barbie. I think this is the one place it can win, other than song. And I want Killers of the Flower Moon to win.
Looked great. Looked so great.
That I think that might have broken my Bella right there. And I'll be very mad at both of you when Poor Things wins. But all right, now we're getting into the really hard ones. Let's do another easy one. Cinematography. El Conde, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. We're all saying Oppenheimer, right?
I'm saying Poor Things.
You think Poor Things is gonna win?
Yeah, wow. and my wish is Killers of the Flower Moon. Also, I didn't like Oppenheimer's.
That's true.
Yeah.
Ethan, you want and think it's Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
I want to think it's Oppenheimer, but I'm not gonna lie, I will jump with joy. I will run into the streets Obama style if El Conde wins. But I'll also jump for joy if Rodrigo Prieto wins because he's awesome and he's so also good. Did Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what a crazy year this guy had.
His IMDb is nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Animated feature film. This is a really hard one. Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's really between two. What do you got, Ethan?
I think Boy and the Heron is going to win because Miyazaki is a very old man and that people will not pass up the opportunity to give him an award. I want it to be Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That movie is amazing, and those people are just working on another level for animation, and I cannot wait to see that third movie. But Boy and the Heron is going to win.
Prediction, Boy and the Heron, my wish is Robot Dreams. It really made Earth, Wind, and Fire emotional for me. Now when I hear September, I want to cry. It was past lives in animated form, and I can't recommend it enough.
I think it's going to be Boy and the Heron. I want it to be Boy and the Heron. I will not be surprised if it's Spider-Man. That's this. Honestly,
Yeah.
this is as hard as Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone for me. I think it's just as hard. I'm going with Boy and the Heron. Actress in a supporting role: Emily Blunt, Danielle Brooks, America Ferrera, Jodie Foster, Deva, and Joy Randolph. Do I even have to say this one? This is the most locked I've ever seen anything ever.
Deva.
Yeah.
She is amazing in that.
It's
The
unbelievable.
red carpet for Independent Spirit was one of the coolest looks I've seen this season. She looks like she should be Charlie in Charlie's Angels. Like, very cool leather jacket. Yeah. Anyways.
I'm not going to... I think that it's a combination of her performance was so good and it's a weaker category. I didn't see Color Purple, but...
It's
America
Danielle Brooks
Ferrera
is amazing.
I believe it. But that movie, I think this is the only nomination for it. Like, America Ferrera should not be nominated. Emily Blunt was fine in like a pretty mediocre part. I don't know. Like, it's so odd. It was her year from the beginning.
Also, her speeches have been great.
Yes.
Obviously, I want Devine to win. Obviously, she's going to win. But as an agent of chaos, can you imagine if Emily Blunt won? Can you imagine the unbelievable chaos if Emily Blunt
This
won?
country would go to war. This country would go to war.
I would be going to war. And I'm not meant for war.
Actor in a supporting role: Sterling K. Brown, Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, Mark Ruffalo. I mean, come on.
This is a great category. Downey will win. I guess I want Ryan Gosling to win.
Yep.
Same. RDJ will win, but I wish it was Ryan Gosling.
RDJ will win. Everyone here is amazing, and I would like any of them to win. I
Yes.
legitimately would be most excited if Sterling K. Brown surprised us.
So good in that movie.
But
So
when
good.
they read it, they go, Sterling K. Brown for Biosphere? And then I get to explain to everyone what happens in Biosphere again.
And here's Eli Golden from the podcast. I need to see that to explain the plot
so they're on the
of
moon.
Biosphere.
God.
Mark Duplass grows a vagina, like evolution. And Sterling K. Brown has sex with Mark Duplass's newly formed vagina.
What a great year for abs in this category.
Okay. Actor in a leading role. Wait, one more thing I want to throw out there. Will actor in a supporting role be the first award given out?
Yes.
Oh, which we haven't talked about. Who do we think is going to talk for like RDJ and these people? I'm so glad it's coming back that we're having the other actors introduce the actors.
Could you explain that, Carolyn?
So in 2008, I think it was the 2008 Oscars, for the main 4 categories, supporting, best actor, actress, they had other actors within the Academy come out and introduce and talk about each nominee. So because RDJ's been around for like 30 years, who do we think will be speaking?
I bet some big names will show up. I like RDJ.
If it's up to him, it's Gibson. Because Mel Gibson helped bring him back. It is. Like, I know he's problematic, but it is that would be his choice.
Yeah. I'll have to think about that.
Anthony Michael Hall.
I would lose my mind for Ryan Gosling if Rachel McAdams walked out. Because they used to date. And she should have been nominated.
Notebook. Okay, best actor: Bradley Cooper, Coleman Domingo, Paul Giamatti, Cillian Murphy, Jeffrey Wright. Ethan, who do you got?
Killian and Killian.
Caroline.
I think I'm Paul and Paul.
Ooh.
I'm Cillian and Paul. I think Cillian's going to win. I want Paul to win. To me, the hardest one out. Actress in a leading role: Annette Bening, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller, Carey Mulligan, Emma Stone.
Okay. I have... Okay. End of podcast. I think that Lily Gladstone is going to win. She's pretty much been cleaning up at all of the precursors. I think that as we've gone through it, Killers of the Flower Moon doesn't seem like it's going to be winning much. So I think a lot of people feel very comfortable saying, I will vote for Lily Gladstone to honor the movie and her performance, of course. And I think that overall, like, Emma Stone doesn't need the Oscar. She is a top 5 actor working today. End of sentence. Like, this movie just put her in that category. She is one of the best out there. And I think that Oscar or not, like, she will really be remembered for this part. That said, I kind of hope Sandra Hüller wins.
I would lose my
that
mind.
That movie has just fully stuck with me, and I think about her kind of like similar to Cillian Murphy, these like non-showy starring roles, understated roles. It's like, acting with a small a, which is not what, Robert Downey Jr. is doing. And it's great. That movie was really good. So I hope Sandra Hüller wins.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Lily Gladstone, but I think if there's a split and Sandra Hüller wins, to think about the 2 performances she gave in Anatomy of a Fall and Zone of Interest, they're so different. And I'm still thinking about that fight scene in Anatomy of a Fall. It is better than that. 5 minutes is better than all the Marriage Story. So my hope is a split with Sandra Hüller and Carey Mulligan, and a part that I think has really gotten, and a performance I think has really gotten buried in all the Maestro discourse this year. I thought Carey Mulligan gave one of the best performances I've seen, and that hospital scene has, like, in addition to the marriage scene, that is another scene that has really stuck with me from this award season.
When Lily Gladstone won the Golden Globes, I said she's going to win the Oscar, and then Emma Stone started winning a bunch of stuff, and I went, uh-oh. I'm going back to it. I think Lily Gladstone's going to win. If any of these people win, I'll be excited. I'm not going to lie. But I think I'm on the Sandra Hüller train of that's who I want to win. But Annette Bening would give such a good speech. Lily Gladstone, my pick. Best Director. Nominated are Christopher Nolan, Christopher Nolan, Christopher Nolan, Christopher Nolan, or Christopher Nolan. Ethan, who's going to win?
Yeah, I think it's Christopher Nolan, and I want Christopher Nolan.
Nolan, and then I want to split for Jonathan Glazer because I think Zone of Interest is so unreal, and Justine Triet I thought was Anatomy of a Fall is still like one of my top 2-3 movies of the year.
Okay, so I think Nolan's going to win. I want Nolan to win. Having said that, he is also a producer on Oppenheimer, so he would win an Oscar if it wins Best Picture. Do the Academy take that into account and give it to Jonathan Glazer for Zone of Interest, who deserves it because that movie is a masterpiece? I agree with Ethan, who's shaking his head no. It's going to be Oppenheimer. I want it to be Oppenheimer, but oh my God, Jonathan Glazer is an artist.
I would run in the streets if Jonathan Glazer or Justine Triet won, but it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, because I know that they have in the past done the split where they'll give director to somebody sort of as a second place, statue, and then Best Picture to someone else. But in this sort of, I texted you all this week. I rewatched Oppenheimer this week. I cannot recommend enough rewatching that movie. It was even better the second time I watched it. Everything that I was unsure about or didn't feel like it landed, it was so good and clear. And my year rankings remain the same, but it's the movie of the year. Like, it's the movie of the year by the director of the year, by the guy who saved cinema. It's just like, it's his moment. It's his moment.
Best Picture, American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of a Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, Zone of Interest, or my year of dicks from last year. They're bringing it back. We all say Oppenheimer, right? But who do we want to win?
I just gave my spiel, but it's not my favorite movie of the year, but I want Oppenheimer to win. Like, it deserves it. It really deserves it.
If it doesn't, it's going to be a Mad Max situation where for years and years and years and years and years we go, that Oscar sucked. Mad Max should have won. It needs to be Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
My wish is I wish it were Past Lives, Anatomy of a Fall, or Zone of Interest. I think those Zone of Interest is a true masterpiece, like we were just saying. I think there's no other movie like it that is come out this year or come close to it. But Past Lives is just, I've seen it twice again recently. Every part of it is stuck with me, and like the shots, the screenplay, the Celine Song's direction, and every performance. Again, still upset no acting performance was nominated from this year, but those three have been my tentpoles of this award season.
The problem with I'm gonna take Oppenheimer out because it's gonna win. I want it to win. Between the other ones, if Past Lives wins, I think it puts a target on Past Lives back, and people don't remember it as fondly as they do right now as that little indie movie that could and got a nomination.
I'll say something interesting about Past Lives. I've talked to my mom. I talked to a couple people who are like of an older generation than us, and they all sort of went, "Yeah, that was a nice movie. Like it was nice," and they didn't have like the enthusiasm that the three of us clearly have for this movie. And I wanted to ask you all like why you might think that, because I was so surprised that my mom wasn't like, "This is the best movie of the year by far." And she was just like, "Yeah, it was really good."
I've been wondering, because I've had a few friends sort of had the same and it's a lot of, I don't know, it's been an interesting thing I've thought about this award season, because I think I've seen every movie I've seen on this list I've seen in theaters. I don't think I've watched any of them streaming. And I keep wondering about the impact of watching these streaming versus in a theater, and like how that affects your viewing experience. And I kind of wonder, like, I imagine like if I watched Past Lives like at home for the first time, would I have that same, I don't know. It's kind of like we were saying with like film criticism. It's like very much like how you view it for the first time. Is that impacting like how you feel about it? Because like imagine if you saw Oppenheimer like on the 10-inch TV that Michael Jordan was allegedly watching the Super Bowl on, versus in a theater.
So the question you just asked is, why does my mom think this way? So let's answer that.
Not my mom. My mom's a stand-in.
Here's my question.
For others.
Did she see it when it first came out, or did she see it after the hype came out about it?
She saw it in the last month.
I think that's affecting it too. If you saw it early before any of the awards come out, I think it's a different movie than if you see Oppenheimer, if you see even Maestro or Killers of the Flower Moon, and everyone's like, "Yeah, but you have to see Poor Things," and you go see this really quiet, slow dramedy. I don't know. I think it changes it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's what your mom is thinking. I want Zone of Interest to win, but I also want Oppenheimer to win, so I think Oppenheimer's going to win. And those are our Oscar predictions. And when I win our pool, you guys get to watch WrestleMania. Next week, we have a very special show. We're doing our March Sisters Madness. And we have a special guest. Who's our special guest, Caroline?
Dear friend of the pod, and also co-host of the podcast you should listen to, Sports Kid, Drama Kid, Andy Sharavsky, who played Meg in a production of Little Women in Chicago in the last several years. So can't wait to have her on.
We're doing March Sisters Madness, which of course is the movies of Florence Pugh versus Emma Watson versus Saoirse Ronan versus Eliza Scanlon versus Kirsten Dunst versus Claire Danes versus Winona Ryder versus Trudy Alvarado, all moderated by the films of Timothée Chalamet and Christian Bale. Next week, we'll go over the movies that are on our lit bracket, and we will start filling it in.
I watched the other Florence Pugh movie this week. Holy shit.
Lady Macbeth?
We're not saying it.
Yeah, but Lady Macbeth is such a fucking good movie.
That is a fucked up movie. Ooh.
So good. And now it's that time of the show where we make Ethan watch a movie there's no way he wanted to see. We gave him 3 movies for this week. Ethan, how many of those 3 movies did you see?
I saw one of those movies, the most important of those movies.
Can you tell us which movie you paid money to see?
I paid for my sister and my friend's ticket as well to see Madam Web.
Can you please tell us the plot of Madam Web? Or do you want me to just play the line from the trailer?
I'm gonna try. He was with my mom studying spiders in the Amazon, which is not actually what a line that appears in the movie, which is pretty devastating.
There's an online debate of if they used AI for that voiceover, by the way. Anyway.
First of all, the 80% of this movie is ADR. The villain, I will tell you the plot in a second. The villain of this movie, you either don't see his mouth move when he talks, or when he does talk, it does not match the words ever, 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 ever. And his accent is somehow Germanic and Hispanic and American and alien all at once. Anytime he spoke, we laughed. The plot of this movie is, to the best of my recollection, Dakota Johnson's mom is studying spiders in Peru, and there is this race of spider people, and she finds one of these spiders that can cure all diseases, but then her bodyguard is actually the bad guy, and he kills the mom. And then the spider people take the dying mom, and Dakota Johnson is birthed in spider person water. And then we fast forward to 2003, and boy, is it 2003 in this movie. A Beyonce billboard. At one point, Dakota Johnson goes, "I just want to go home and watch Idol," which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It is so 2003 in this movie. And then Dakota Johnson is a paramedic with Ben Parker. And by the way, she attends Peter Parker's baby shower. Emma Roberts is Peter Parker's mom. And then Dakota Johnson falls into the water saving somebody, and then her spider people powers are activated, and she can see the future. And then there's 3 girls. One of them is Sydney Sweeney, and then there's 2 others that are going to be future spider women. And then the bad guy is trying to kill them, and then she keeps saving them. And then this is the most important detail to share. You know that in those movies when the heroes have to learn a lesson how to save the day, or keep someone alive or beat the whatever. There is a scene in this movie where Dakota Johnson teaches these 3 girls how to do CPR on a dummy. And she tells them that you have to keep the rhythm together on CPR. And then we have a scene where each of them spends what felt like a minute each doing CPR on a dummy. So when Dakota Johnson is not breathing, they at the end of the movie save her just doing CPR as a team. And that's how they saved it was unbelievable. I got extraordinarily high to watch this movie, and I kid you not, there is no way I will have more fun at Dune 2 than I did at Madam Web. This is a 5-star, 0-star movie. People were cackling in the theater. People applauded at the end of it. My friend and I just kept giggling for everything. This movie is so bad, it is good. Please watch it in a group of friends who are using cannabis products. It was a blast. I had so much fun. 5-star, 0-star movie.
Ethan, thank you for your sacrifice.
I think I have to see it.
My pleasure. My absolute pleasure.
How much money do you think the American Red Cross gave Sony to include this much CPR exposure?
Well, my friend who I saw it with is a doctor. He kept laughing. He's like, "That's not even how you do CPR."
While you started your summary, I was working on something. I'm going to do this live. Let me see if this worked. Ready?
Did you get Dakota Johnson on the pod?
I've seen that man before. He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died. Wait, My my favorite part of this movie is so it becomes like very, Peter Parker-y, right? Which is all just very ridiculous and makes no sense. But at some point, she's like, I know what I must do. And Sydney Sweeney's like, you've got to go to Peru, which is a terrible line. But then she goes to meet the spider people, and one of the spider people says to her, when you take on the responsibility, great power will come.
Whoa. Can I ask a spoiler question?
Yeah, of course.
She goes to Peter Parker's baby shower, right?
Correct.
That's unbelievable. Sorry.
With Emma Roberts as Peter Parker's mom.
And Adam Scott is Ben, right? Uncle Ben?
Adam Scott is Ben.
What the fuck is this movie?
Okay, what year was Peter Parker born? Also, my brain is broken when you said she went to watch Idol. I thought you meant The Idol. I was like, they're watching The Idol?
No, American Idol, because that's how we used to say, like, I'm just going to go watch Idol. That's how it was 2003. Tom Holland's Peter Parker would have been born in 2003.
You know what? Adam Scott and Marissa Tomei is a good couple.
No. Oh, yeah, it is. Right. And we never saw young Marissa Tomei.
Man, Adam Scott and young Marissa Tomei. I'm not going to spoil a scene from Dune, but there's a scene where an actress shows up who is a perfect combination of Rebecca Ferguson and Oscar Isaac. Like put those two together and you get this actress. Caroline, do you agree?
I 100% agree. Now I was trying to wonder, is Dakota Johnson voting for Justin Guarini or Kelly Clarkson in Madam Web?
No, it's a Clay Aiken year
2003. No, it would have been,
Oh, Clay Aiken, Ruben Studdard?
She's a Ruben.
She's voting for Clay Aiken.
Should have been a Ruben. I think she's a Ruben guy.
I watched American Idol this season because I really liked the guy from Hawaii, and he won. Anyway.
Cool.
I love that.
Thank you, Ethan, for your sacrifice. Are we giving him a break next week because we have to watch all these March Madness movies?
I mean, I think you still need to watch This Is Me Now. It's only 66 minutes. And the documentary just came out this week, too. The Greatest Love Story Never Told.
I was going to say, you're not just seeing This Is Me Now. You're also going to watch the documentary about making This Is Me Now.
I have to watch it. I can't wait.
All right, Ethan, that is your homework assignment for next week. I'm excited to hear your take on...
Madam Web is amazing. Everyone don't see it, but totally go see it.
That's it. That's our show. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe. Visit us at IneedToSeeThat.com or email us at IneedToSeeThatPod@gmail.com. My entire face just went purple as I spat that out from a weird fugue state. Thank you to our audience members in the United States, Norway, Ireland, Belgium, Mauritius, Canada, and Germany. Thank you to our 80% between the ages of 28 and 34. Our 60+% went down to 8% in the last week.
Or did our numbers go up for the 18 to 38? So it's the ratio.
We're still 66% female audience, so I'll take that. Thank you, everybody. Next week, we have Andy, we have the March Sisters Madness, and we have our Oscar reactions. Caroline and I are going to be in person together. Oh my God! That's our show, and as always...
I love Madam Web. Let's go. It was such a good movie. It was the most fun ever. Go get high and see Madam Web. That's what I'll always say. I've seen that man before. He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.